Vodacom and its parent company Vodafone have broken new ground in South Africa by achieving the first ever 6-star Green Star South Africa rating for the Vodafone Innovation Centre building in Midrand, Johannesburg. Joining us in studio now to tell us more is Portia Maurice. She is Chief Officer of Corporate Affairs over at Vodacom. Thanks so much, Portia, for joining us this morning. Well, let's get straight into it in terms of what exactly is being recognised here and what we're looking at.
Okay, so essentially the building is going to be the hub of the Vodafone Innovation Centre, and development started about a year ago. We've been awarded 6 stars, which is the first in South Africa, for the design of the building. And we're hoping obviously to be awarded the same sort of rating for the construction, because the construction is not complete yet. It'll be complete early next year.
Okay, so we're looking at an energy efficient building, a green building moving forward. Why the decision to go down this route in the first place?
Well, I mean, I think it's kind of a given for any company in today's world. Climate change is an issue that impacts us all, and we all have a huge responsibility. So I think in anything that we do, we try and build in a consideration for climate. Mm-hmm. Given that we had a greenfields opportunity to build a new building, that's what we did. We're doing a lot of work in our network and throughout our operations to try and reduce our emissions. So it's really part of our business strategy.
There's a lot of speculation that comes with the cost and technology in actually taking a building off the grid, getting it green. Set the record straight for us in terms of the cost factor that we're looking at here.
Look, I mean, this building is not a huge building, so it will house under 20 people. It cost us 24 million rand. And I think there is a little bit of a fallacy around operating costs for green buildings, because in fact, if you do it properly, it doesn't have to cost you a lot more money. Mm-hmm. But of course, because this is a green building, it is entirely energy efficient, resource efficient, and self-sufficient.
Yeah. So one would only have to assume then that you would reap the reward of this moving down the line with that efficiencies coming to bear. Have the maths been done in terms of how long it will take to actually before the investment starts paying off and you hit that break-even point?
The maths have been done, but I mean, that's kind of a little bit of detail that I don't have at hand. But I can say that, we see the opportunity, we see this rather as an opportunity in terms of business innovation and what we can do for our clients in terms of generating creative ideas, not only for our own carbon reduction, but for those of our clients as well. So it's really much more around the opportunity than the cost.
Yeah. The technology, quite a mammoth technologically speaking, it's quite a mammoth task that we're looking at here. What about upkeep and ability to maintain these systems moving forward? I mean, cynics will say it's easy for a company, yourselves to maintain where you have an in-house and a renewable division, but if you don't, then it becomes more of a challenge to actually venture down this path.
Explain a little bit.
Just taking a look at skills in terms of, what it actually takes to keep this running and sustainable moving forward. Do you have those skills in-house in terms of maintenance?
So we'll be doing this in collaboration with Vodafone, and between us we are developing those skills, and I think that is the challenge for other companies and for our economy as a whole, around developing new industries and new skills for the green economy. I mean, that is what the future looks like. Mm-hmm. It's a low carbon future, and we'd better get our acts together. So I don't think it's a question of whether or not. It's something that we have to do. And as a country, we have to pull together and make sure that we get it right.
So investments being made in that regard as well, in terms of getting those skills to where they need to be supportive of this. What have some of the challenges been in actually setting up shop?
Well, I think some of the challenges are around the supply chain. So when I talk about local green industry, I think that is an industry that's still very much in its infancy. And so while we've tried to keep our supply chain as local as possible, we have had to procure certain equipment from overseas, and that has presented us certain challenges in terms of timing and project management. Mm-hmm. But I suppose that's really been the only real challenge.
So to what extent do you see this becoming a trend in the country?
I think this is absolutely the way to go. I mean, there are a couple of other buildings in the country that are 4 and 5 stars. Australia has a 6-star rating like we do. The US and the UK have slightly different rating kind of systems. But I think this, in terms of new buildings, this is the way you have to go. The challenge is around retrofitting existing buildings in the country, because infrastructure is a huge drain on carbon. And so that's really the area that I think companies need to look at, given that we're not building as much as we could be.
Yeah, well, Portia, let's leave it there. Thanks so much for your time this morning. Of course, Portia Maurice is Chief Officer of Corporate Affairs over at Vodacom.